this industry currently growing with a CAGR of more than around like 7% annually, and the focus is on the growth, like because as the population is increasing, we need houses, we need spaces where we can live and stay. And with the growth of with the rapid growth also comes with its own challenges. Yes, I think like this industry, like it's like it's ever booming industry. There's so many things that we can do, not just with the brick kilns or the construction waste that we are trying to solve, but I think there's so many wider opportunities that each and every people can come and do something with their innovative solutions.
Hey folks, that was Kunjpreet Arora, co-founder of Angiras, a company making bricks from waste plastic and construction waste. She is the receiver of Uplink Top Innovator Award from World Economic Forum. And in our conversation today, we deep dive into how reducing waste and emissions of construction sector poses a billion-dollar opportunity. We cover everything: mentorship, grants, industry trends, challenges, customers, all in this one power-packed conversation. So tune in and let me know if you like it. I'm your host, Vedant Vyas, and this is Positive Planet, a podcast about thoughts and ideas on climate change. Subscribe and join me on this journey to a sustainable future. So, hello, Kunjpreet. How are you doing? It's a fine morning, and I'm feeling really good to talk to you.
Hi Vedant, I'm doing good. Thanks for inviting me to the podcast, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Like you said, even I was looking forward to this conversation for a long time, especially because this is a sector I don't really understand, and
Mhm.
it's always been slightly a black box for me. So I'm going to start with that itself. The core problem that Angiras is solving is construction
Mhm.
waste and reducing the emissions from brick kilns, and
Right.
bricks being the primary product used in India for constructions. But before we go into this part of it, I was thinking that we better understand how big
Mhm.
the industry itself is growing so we can understand the extent of the problem. So, can you
Right.
share what are the next few years for the construction industry in India going to be like?
So I think the construction industry is currently on an unprecedented trajectory, unprecedented growth trajectory, because currently the with the rapid growing in the population, we are demanding urbanization, and also the government focus on the urbanization, development, affordable housing. This industry currently growing with a CAGR of more than around like 7% annually, and the focus is on the growth, like because as the population is increasing, we need houses, we need spaces where we can live and stay. And with the growth of with the rapid growth also comes with its own challenges, right? The environmental challenges, especially the construction waste, and also with this brick kiln industry, which is one of the traditional industry. From we are using this brick the clay bricks from hundreds of years, and if you see that there has been no upgradation or no innovative solution that has come in this space of the brick kiln industry. And with the focus on us, achieving net zero goals by 2070, we need alternative sustainable solution which can be implemented into these construction industry. And this industry in itself is like more than 800 billion USD, with so many elements within in this industry, like building materials is one of the elements that we are trying to address. And within this industry also comes like energy, logistics, supply chain, the project management, so many other things that has opportunities, and where we can come up with innovative solution. And yes, I think like this industry, like it's like it's ever booming industry. There's so many things that we can do, not just with the brick kilns or the construction waste that we are trying to solve, but I think there's so many wider opportunities that each and every people can come and do something with their innovative solutions.
Yeah. I like that thinking of it's an ever booming industry, it's always on a growth path. And I
Exactly.
think with that comes the problems extent itself. Like an ever booming industry will lead to an
Right.
ever booming amount of waste. So I'll start with the
Right.
construction waste. I'll start
Yeah.
with the construction waste, as in what is construction waste? What all is included in
Mhm.
that? How it harms me as a person living around in a place
Right.
where construction waste is constantly growing up.
Right, so India generated around like more than 500 million tons of construction demolition waste every year, and as per the government report. So construction waste happens but on like two bases: either you are rebuilding or repurposing some building, so it will generate some lot of amount of construction waste, or even if you're building a new building from scratch, it will generate construction waste. It would have like soil, it would have the other building material particles which are crushed during transportation, so it is again waste that goes into dump yard. It will have like glass, steel, wood, anything that can be used in the building. Well, it will be like the construction will waste would have the holistic of all these kind of elements that can go into the building. During the smart city initiative of our central government, they said that the first 100 smart cities that they're coming up with will have its own construction and demolition waste recycling plant. But the capacity of those plants is only 1% of the total waste that are being generated. So imagine like the total recycling capacity is just 1% of 30 million tons of CND waste that we are generating, which is very very less. Like we require more than like at least 80-90% of the capacity of the waste that we are generating. And currently this waste goes into dump yards, landfills, in the water bodies, and this is very unregulated industry. And the impact that through it creates a lot of pollution air, because when people drive through the roads, and if you throw construction waste around the roadside, and through the wind, it will come to your you will like breathe it into from the air. So like again, it's very harmful for your respiratory, for your lung, and like a lot of health issues. And the clogging, it's one of the major impact. The urban flooding, especially in the city like Bangalore, that we have seen, roads gets clogged and water cannot find its way to go underground. So these are the like impacts of the when you dump CND waste through the irregular ways around the roadside.
Okay, interesting. And you mentioned these CND recycling plants. What is the
Right.
role actually? What are they supposed to do?
So this CND waste recycling plant, so like each and every smart city should have, and I think they have CND waste recycling plant. So what happens? So like each and every builder, they are supposed to send their CND waste to these plants,
Hmm.
and these plant operator, they crush that CND waste into smaller particle size. Like after crushing, so the aggregates that's come out of it, they again like can be reused into the secondary projects, or for for the filling of some for the construction projects itself. And through the CND waste also, they can manufacture alternative materials, like they can manufacture bricks, they can also manufacture paver blocks, which can again go back to the the construction projects. And in fact, in the government project, it is like 20%, it is mandatory to reuse your CND waste. You use 20% of the CND waste manufactured materials. It could be aggregates, it could be bricks, paver blocks, etc. But right now it is not mandatory for the private sector.
Okay, interesting. The whole lot of conversation can be considered here. But
Right.
for the time, I'll just stick to the fact that there is a circular economy solution that can be implemented, but we are still not able to achieve that. Any reasons that you can share, like why this has not scaled up? Is it because the government mandate has not like picked it up or anything for the recycling part of it?
Yeah, so like I'll give you an example of our own city, Udaipur, right? When the Udaipur city got the funds from the central government under the smart city scheme, they set up this plant. But I think like because as a like a company, we operated that plant for initial of like 6 to 8 months in 2020. And operating that plant, we understand a lot of challenges. First, its location, it's very far from the city,
Hmm.
the kacha sadak like roads, because
Hmm.
during the monsoon the roads get blocked, and the dumpers like who are bringing this heavy C&D waste, it
Hmm.
cannot pass through that kacha side because it gets slippery for them also. It's a muddy road, right? And again, like the labor shortage was again an issue because it was so far from the city. They, like, people, like the labor for the workers, it was quite unsafe when they go return when they return back during the night time or the late evening time. So, and there were like a lot of issues with operations like supply chain, energy, and so many other factors were also there. So this was like one challenge in Udaipur city, but I think there are several other factors also. Like this is like a failure example, but on the other side, if we see like Delhi, they has around 4 C&D waste plant, and they are recycling more than 200 tons of C&D waste annually. I think more than that. And those 4 plants are running absolutely like so great. Like, in Delhi, it's we right now don't see like a lot of C&D waste dumped through irregular ways. But I think, like, during the planning and execution, if you study and if you research well, you can make sure that this recycling plant works well. But if you just randomly go and set up this plant, it will be challenging.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for sharing that actually. So for our listeners, this in fact poses a good opportunity to recycle and probably even earn profits also. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm now shifting our conversation to the second problem you guys are solving, that is the brick kilns.
right.
Now, while I have a superficial understanding that brick kilns cause air pollution, but I think there's a much deeper problem associated here. Can you expand on that?
Right. So the brickle industry in itself, like we read report, we did a lot of research. We got to know that the brickle industry contributed to the 9% of the carbon emission that are being generated in India, and it is the second largest after the traffic jams. 9% of the carbon emission is a significant that can come from a single industry in itself. It contribute like this 9% is almost like 200 million tons of CO2 equivalent and GHG emissions, and it releases particular matters which like PM 2.5, PM 10 that are very harmful for the human health and the neighborhood, and not only just for the human health but also for the other species like animals and the plants also. And like along with it, there are also like sulfur dioxide, black carbon that comes through these industry, and that is particularly because they burn coal and the firewood, which releases because they use it as a fuel for baking this
Mhm.
bricks in the bhatta, right? So this is the process, and they use huge like 50 million tons of coal annually for the whole process.
Wow.
And it's not just that, because and they also like one brick kiln it's spread around acres of land, around 2 to 6 acres depending upon their capacity, monthly capacity of around 1 lakh to 10 lakh bricks. And that results into the other adverse effects for the agriculture because they pollute and they deteriorate the land itself. And
Hmm.
then there are other issues like migrant labor. So mostly these brick kilns employ migrant laborers because they don't get work in others industry, right?
Hmm.
And it's very easy way to get a cheap labor in our country, and their family, like their children, their parents, their wives, they all get involved into this process of brick kilns. And when they're involved into this process, it again like they breathe the smoke that are coming out of these bhattas, right?
Yeah.
So like there's so many other challenges, and when we interviewed few of the brick manufacturers in our city, we got to know that I mean, like, it's just not the environmental impact but also the social impact also. Like, I can tell you, like, people from the backward communities, mostly they get employed in this industry, and that's
Hmm.
something that we need to take action against it. So there's so many environmental, social challenges that this industry currently having, and it needs solution, really.
Yeah, I actually read about these things. I've heard stories from renowned websites like BBC, and many people have
Yeah.
published on how Brickens are exploiting laborers in the name of, helping them out to employment or something. Has
Hmm.
that been a kind of a barrier for you to enter into this industry as well? Because I've also heard these folks are what we generally term it as a mafia industry of sorts. Has that
It
been the
is.
case?
Right, and mostly it is unorganized sectors, right? And
Mhm.
I mean, like we have not particularly faced such issues that these mafias are coming against Angiran, the people who are doing in the same industry. But I think yes, I mean, like again, like the cost comparative, it is also very cost sensitive industry, right?
Yeah.
And if someone is selling at 8 rupees, for example, and the other brick manufacturer will sell at like 7.5 rupees, and the builders will go to the 7.5 rupees wala, brick manufacturers, because again, like he can save a lot of huge amount of cost for their construction. So it's how they play around is on the keeping the cost less, supplying them on demand, keeping the stock ready. And to keep that stock ready, they make sure that they do double shifts, they are doing night shifts as well, they call the workers during night, they make them work for like larger hours, like more than 10 hours, which is more than as per the government laws, right? So this thing's what happens in this industry. It's very cutthroat industry.
Yeah. It's hard to listen, of course, uh, but let's hope the problems get solved in different ways through maybe innovative solutions that you guys are working on. And
Yeah.
yeah, with that, I want to actually come to the innovative solution itself. That is RICS, which I think is a combination of waste bricks, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
So, what is RICS? How does it differentiate with respect to the bricks that we just mentioned in terms of cost? What
Right.
impact is it able to create in reducing our carbon emissions?
Right. So the bricks name itself, it's derived from waste plus brick. We just thought it randomly, like this looks interesting. We just don't wanted to come up with a very new unique name. We just wanted to resemble with the existing way so that people can really relate to it. What is it? So bricks is our flagship product. It's made from plastic and construction waste. Apart from construction waste, we also uses different kind of industrial waste that can be available in particular cities. So for example, we come from Rajasthan, so we have a lot of marble slurry waste. So we can use marble slurry mixed with construction waste and the plastic waste and come up with an innovative product which is like a brick. And this product is 40% more stronger. It is waterproof, damp proof. It has better thermal insulation properties. It is also lighter in weight, 20% lighter in weight as compared to the regular bricks that we are competing with. So one, that it is made from recycled materials. The other part is that it has better strength, better properties that can go into the buildings, and that saves your huge amount of maintenance and repairment cost. And the third is the whole process of making these bricks. It's like the process that we have designed by ourselves. It's our proprietary technology, and we have made sure that like on the other, like while coming up with an innovative solution, we don't again like release harmful gases into the
Hmm.
environment. So we wanted to make sure that whole process is sustainable and it does not create more other problems for the environment. And we also got it tested to make sure that we have a third party validation also, not just that we are saying it. So these are like the three factors that has more benefits on cost, on environment, and also on the social impact. So we have automized the whole process as compared to the manually operated brick kiln process. And we have done pilots across the country from Srinagar to Chennai with our product, making sure that the products being tested in diverse geographical location through diverse temperature. Like in Srinagar, we have this extreme winter, and in Chennai, we have extreme hot and humid environment. And it's been
Yeah.
like tested from past 2 years, and we've seen like it's coming out very good, and we are getting good feedback also from our clients. Even like our Chennai client, they told like they built a badminton stadium with bricks, which is spread around like 2,000 square feet of area, I guess. And they told that in during the May June area, which is like very hot,
Yeah. Yeah.
has very hot
Clearly.
environment, and they were facing like very 5-degree almost temperature reduction inside the structure that was built with our product versus what is outside. And it was like when you hear these kind of feedback, it makes you very feel good, proud on your product, on your innovation. So I think, like, not just like environmental impact that we are trying to solve, but also we are providing a better properties, better quality of products for the clients.
Interesting. I like that badminton court example because, like, having played badminton one or two times, I realized inside that stadium or the court,
Yeah,
it's always hotter than outside
exactly.
because it's a closed atmosphere of sorts. That's right. So,
Right.
actually, a very good solution here. I have a second degree question here. Now, if I have a rig structure and I am to
Mm-hmm.
demolish it, how easily can it be recycled back into rigs or something?
Right, and again, like that was our concern point for also ki we also not contributing to demolition waste. We
Hmm.
also have to come up with a recycling process, and we did like recycling of this bricks again and again, and we found that this can be again and again recycled by adding new fresh recycled material. So for
Hmm.
example, like bricks goes into the building, and let's say after 50 years or 100 years the building gets demolished, we can collect that demolition waste with bricks, and we can bring it to our own manufacturing facility through reverse supply chain, and adding new recycled material, like adding new plastic waste, new fresh CNT waste, mixing them with the demolition waste, we can again manufacture bricks and other products that can go back to the construction applications. It may not have the same strength and the properties, but lighter, lesser than the original one, but still it can go for the secondary structures where strength is not a major requirement.
Okay, so apart from the wear and tear that happens during the lifetime of
Right.
the so-called building, most of
Mhm.
it can be recycled and put into newer
Right.
materials. Great,
Yeah. So
amazing.
for us, it's like a demolition waste again.
Okay, yeah, great, great. Again, great circular economy solution. Uh, Now, from what you say and from what we just talked about the brickens and the industry in general, it's a cost sensitive market you mentioned, and
Right.
from what I have understood about cost sensitive markets like bricks or paper or something, unless there's an absolute difference in the kind of quality, it's slightly a commoditized product. Then it would be the
Right.
cheaper one wins.
Yeah.
So, how are we comparing on costs when it compares
Hmm.
to the normal clay bricks?
Right. So we found that, like, even though we started in Udaipur, it was very competitive for us to start selling this products in the regular brick market, because again, like, first our capacity was small, and if the capacity is small, the was high, and we were not able to sell completely into the local market of our own city. So we were able to, but we were able to sell into the other markets. Like we were getting a lot of interest from the southern region, like Bangalore, Chennai region.
Hmm.
Then we were getting a lot of interest from Mumbai, some cities of Madhya Pradesh like Bhopal and Indore, Jaipur. We were getting a lot of interest, and we figured out, like, I think, the cities like tier one cities and tier two cities where they're happening, like rapid urbanization, rapid development is happening. That is the market for us to be. And because again, like, it's a tier one city, so the price of bricks in those markets were high versus in Udaipur, which is
Correct.
like a tier three,
Hmm.
tier four cities, and it's very cost sensitive market. So we figured out that we have to be in those particular regions, in those market where we can get justified cost, and where we can offer better product quality also, and where also the challenges with the environment is huge. uh, in compared to the smaller city versus a big city like a metro cities or a tier one city. So we figured it out, and we found that in the tier one cities we are cost comparative, but in tier two, tier three city, or if you go in the lower towns, there we are like 20-30% expensive.
Okay.
So we have figured out that we have to be in those particular cities where we can get justified price for our product. But as we scale up production and we can reduce our cost, we can then go to the lower tier cities as
Yeah.
well.
Okay. Yeah, good to know. I'm going to turn our conversation a bit to the opportunities that you can see. I want to understand what the market is here, what someone else, if he wants to innovate similar to like you did in
Mm-hmm.
some or the other way to make
Right.
this industry more net zero, more carbon neutral, what can be done? So, my first question here comes up is I did research with respect to your products. I saw how innovatively you are making those products. Parallelly, I was able to see many other people who are making
Mm-hmm.
bricks itself, but from alternate other materials. Like I've seen
Right.
someone make only from plastic. So those are very light
Mm-hmm.
blocks, probably not that much strength, but good for paver blocks.
Okay.
Then
Hmm.
I probably saw a video of a woman in Africa. She's using old tires, which is one hard
Right.
to recycle
Recycle.
kind of waste.
Right.
And she's making blocks out of that and helping
Hmm.
communities there in Africa. Do you think going forward, as we urbanize more and more, this will become the norm where CND
Yeah.
waste or any kind of waste to construction
Hmm.
materials will be spread out all over the country?
I think yes, because as the market for the sustainable material is growing, as the regulation is tightening up and the consumer demand is growing for the eco-friendly, sustainable alternative materials, the growing for this, I mean, like the demand of the sustainable materials is will also grow in the near future. As I said, like CND waste has been made compulsory of up to 20% in the government projects, and I think the regular regulations are also getting strict with the dumping of the CNT waste in the
Hmm.
private sector as well. So I think like people can come up with, and it has like huge scope. Like you can not just have a solution for the CNT waste. I know people, few of my friends who are making building materials from agri waste. They are making different kind of wall panels. They are making different kind of paver blocks, and they're doing so much thing not just with the CNT waste but also incorporating other industrial waste problem like agri waste, hamcrete waste, etc. So I think like as you given the example of a rubber waste is also very hard to recycle. It doesn't get recycled just like plastic. So like upcycling that rubber waste into different kind of building material is a very good innovative solution where we can offer a better properties as compared to the rubber waste going dumped into the regular landfills. And I think like what lead the market of this alternative building solution is how you can present your product and how better is your product in
Hmm.
terms of quality and in terms of cost also, as it is very cost comparative market. So I think that will lead how better is your product and what is the cost comparative compared to the existing materials to these upcoming players.
Okay. You mentioned these different kinds of building materials being made out of different kinds of waste.
Right.
And from our conversation, I'm able to understand that every different kind of brick made from different kinds of waste will
Mm-hmm.
lead to a different application. Am I right here?
Right.
Like, can you expand on
Yes.
that a bit?
Right, so I'll tell you. So, like people who are making building materials, let's say bricks or paper blocks from agri waste, uh, that will have, I mean, like how you position your product. So, in the building materials, also we have different kind of applications like load bearing, non-load bearing,
Hmm.
and I know few companies who are competing for the non-load bearing application in high-rise building. So they were making alternative to AEC blocks. AEC blocks is basically lightweight blocks, which is like a larger size of blocks that goes into high-rise building in tier one cities specifically.
Okay.
So they are competing with those AEC blocks because again, like AEC blocks uses natural material, like natural soil, cement, and the process is polluting as well. Like people again who are using agri waste, they are making this wall panels which can replace the 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 wooden panels, right?
Yeah.
So they are
Hmm.
making alternative to that. Again, like when you cut these trees, it again like creating deforestation, and which has its own environmental challenges. So you know like depending upon what material you are using, you can play around the application, because your materials define your properties. So
Yeah.
that is one of the important factor here, and accordingly you can pitch your product in different for different applications. So
Hmm.
for us, like we offer greater, we offer like 2x the strength as compared to the regular product. So we are pitching for the load bearing application in the low rise buildings. So that is the market that we are trying to target to begin our sales. And then again, like the market is huge, you can do a lot of experiment and tweak around the properties and try to capture the whole market.
Okay. All right. Uh, that brings up a follow-up for me. So if I am to look at the construction industry now, I think on a first level, I'll divide it into residential, commercial. Now
Right.
I think within, I think there's one more sector I could call it as the public sector or
Right.
public works kind of things. The roads and the highways and all
Yeah.
those things.
Gardens, landscape.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, precisely. So within these three, which would be the
Hmm.
most polluting ones according to you?
I think industrial, I would say that
Mm.
industrial and some part of like residential as well, because
Mm.
major construction happen in those industrial sector. And I mean, like, and this is like a wider kind of like application. A lot of focus is going into the residential because again, like as population is increasing, we need more and more houses
Mm.
upcoming. And in next 20, like not 20, but next 17 years, we're gonna see a lot of urbanization happening, not just in like tier one cities because it is already segregated, but we are seeing like cities like Surat, Bhopal, Indore. Lot of construction is happening, and people are preferring those cities as well,
Yeah,
not just like Mumbai, Bangalore, or Delhi or
definitely.
Kolkata, let's say, right? So and the shift is happening in those cities, and the urbanization and the development focus is also going in those cities as well. A lot of innovation is also happening, industry is also growing, so a lot of construction is happening in residential and industrial. So these are like two of the major sectors, which is also leading to construction waste and other kind of like
More
pollution.
emissions. All right, all right. Good to know. I'm coming to the parts where you also call consumers come into play. So I think you have
Hmm.
two levels of consumers. Given that you are into low-rise buildings, like you said, the first would be your
Right.
construction builders and architects and contractors and all these folks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second stage would be the people who would be actually living there. So what has been the
Right.
response from them? How are they looking at RICS and similar to RICS kind of solutions? Do they want to transition to these things?
I think yes, especially like in again like in tier one cities where the awareness for the environmental impact is little bit higher as compared to the other cities. So here, and that is why we have received so much demands from the tier one cities. I mean, like I think like from the consumer perspective also, people are asking for sustainable materials because they are seeing environmental impact day and night. And from the builder perspective or the architect perspective also, they want to build green buildings. They understand like what environmental impact that is happening. To name a few example, like Godrej property, Minor Life Spaces, Lodha, DLF. So these are like
Mhm.
huge corporate builders, developers who are building sustainability. And they're all the buildings, if like as you mentioned that you stays in Gurgaon. So if you see that the DLF township that has been
Mm.
built, it's all IGBC certified, it is all LEED certified, which is
Okay.
like terminology or the policy for the green building. So they are also making sure that their buildings are green certified, and they are more adoptable towards experimenting with new materials which are sustainable. So these are like one of early adopters that we can go to and test our materials with them, because they understand the challenges, and explaining them, and making them convince on our product is less challenging.
Right. So, from as I can see in the names you took, a large opportunity still exists for providing building
Right.
materials, including bricks, made out of sustainable waste,
Hmm.
kind of things. Especially because these builders have large projects going on in most of the cities. So that's
Right.
actually an opportunity for anyone in our viewers who wants to experiment in this. There is one more perspective here: is the government itself. So
Hmm.
is it possible to enter into the industry of public sector works? Like making prefabricates or something. For metro
Right.
constructions and maybe for roads or something. What's the situation there?
Yeah, I think yes, definitely. And I know some one company who's doing in Bangalore. They are making, this grid bats that can be used for laying into the for the road construction. And
Hmm.
these grids are made from recycled plastic waste. So a lot of innovation is happening again in public sector also, leading to road construction or any kind of like infrastructure also. And even for like public infrastructure like gardens or landscaping, where paver blocks are being used like around the in footpath around the road. Few companies are there who are also addressing that paper block of challenges. They're offering paper blocks that can be made from recycled materials, and I think that opens up huge opportunity where you are targeting government as your client, like if you're into B2G.
All right, that's good to know. Okay, now I'm coming to specifically how you started Angiris and where all it began. Now, from what I'm seeing again of this industry is a hard to crack kind of industry. Like while we
Yeah,
are describing right now as somewhere we can enter, it's a hard to crack kind because the barriers to entry are high because of big
right.
incumbents like we discussed. Then there is a lot of capital expenditure required or something. What helped you? What was your driving force in building Angiras?
I think the persistence of the team support has been really important for us, because if you are doing startup, it's already challenging, and if you have a good team around you who can support each other during the tough time, and you have kind of like support who trust your decisions and who trust your vision, I think that is one of the important factors. And apart from that, leveraging grants and accelerator, because again, you are doing something very hardcore, so it's very hardware driven product. A lot of R&D is involved, and raising money initially for your R&D is quite challenging. So there are several government schemes, and they're like state and central government scheme as well. And then there are CSR funds which through the incubators they put into these startups, like these corporates. So leveraging grants, leveraging accelerator programs. If you're coming from engineering background and you want to understand some of the business elements, you can participate in these accelerator programs where they teach you about the go to market strategies, business model, and different other factors also, right? So leveraging those support of incubators is also one of the important factor. And the other part is like collaborating with the early adopters who believe in your vision, and who are ready to experiment with new products, and who can do pilot trials with you, and you can get feedback and again like implement those feedback into the product is something that is again an important factor. So like these 3 points for me, I think would be something that has been kept me on the track. One is like the team support, the other is like mentorship, grants, and accelerators, and the third like collaborating with the right partners who can do pilot trials for your early development of the product.
All right, all right. All very much required things, and thanks for sharing those insights on there are accelerators and grants available.
Exactly.
But there's one more thing beyond behind every business is a mindset of the founder, one founder, two founders, whatever it is. Uh, from when I looked at your profile and I saw the one thing I really liked was we tend to do this general public oh he's an IIT graduate or oh he's an IIM graduate or
Yeah.
oh he has this he has that, and when you look at Kunjpreet Arora's profile, he's like she is purely driven by
Right.
something to create an impact, especially to create an impact plus profit kind of thing. So what is this, what is driving you like this without the so-called big things that help people build big things?
I think like it's something that comes internally, right? I have been grown in, like my father was a civil engineer, not civil engineer, but he's a civil contractor, and I have grown up seeing him building structures for others, and that has been really exciting for me. Like I remember this time where when I was in my eighth grade, and we were rebuilding our own house, and there was like some kind of like some arguments with my father, and I was like arguing like why you are doing this, why you're not doing that. And that is the time I decided I want to be in this space, and I want to show my dad that I am better than him, and I can build better spaces than him. And so that is why I did research, like what are the if you want to be in this space, what you can do professionally. And then the two fields that come across was architecture and civil engineering. And being like firstborn child, my parents don't want me to send outside the city. They wanted me to study within in the city only, and there was not very good college towards for the architecture course. But there were several engineering college, the state government college for the civil engineering. So I got admission into that. and I studied civil engineering. I wanted to build structures and something that there has been always like a passionate inside me that I want to do something in this space. I want to build something in this space. But again, like doing my engineering, I came across the plastic waste challenge, the marble waste challenge of my own city. And doing research, I found that it is just not my city problem, but it's like a global problem. And I thought that we can do something into this. So I collaborated with my co-founder. He was already working with this similar kind of project, and we did R&D, a lot of R&D in our laboratories. I was spending like 2 3 extra hours in my college, after everyone, my friends going to their homes, and I was sitting in the labs. I was studying about it. We were doing R&D, like how we can, and testing that materials again into the in our laboratory. So something that has kept me going throughout all the challenges that we faced during our startup journey, is something that persistence and the passionate for the sustainable construction material. And I want to do something really good into this, and not just like as like a woman. I also feel like this is very men driven industry, and I can pave a path
Hmm.
for the other women who want to be founder, who want to be leader in this space. And I want to inspire them also, that you can do a lot in this industry. It's just not like a men dominating industry, but yes, there are paths for the women also.
Brilliant, brilliant vision, I would say, and kudos for your thinking like that. There's
Thank
also
you.
a climate angle that came in between. I saw in one of your interviews where you mentioned
Hmm.
you also mentioned it right now, like the marble waste
Right.
and the slurry waste of Udaipur. What's the story there?
Yeah.
Can you share it?
Oh, right, of course. So the marble industry. So in South Rajasthan specifically, we have this marble mines that comes to Udaipur for the processing, where the huge marble slabs comes, and they've been converted into these larger slabs that goes for the construction. And not just the slabs, but they also make some aesthetic materials that they also export in the other countries as well. But that also leads to huge amount of marble slurry waste. And we have this lake which is called Swarup Sagar, which gets and that was near to the marble slurry dumping yard. So that got completely dried up because of the marble
Hmm.
slurry penetrating in the underground, and that's polluting the soil, the water quality, and everything inside that. So that was like one of the major issue. And during that time, then the local municipality used to give into the newspaper that we are looking for the solution for this particular problem, and we're inviting engineers of our own city to come up with a solution of this challenge. And that is something we thought, "Ki, can we do something about it?" And so yeah, I mean, this is the story about marble slurry. And yeah, I think still there are many things that can do. And in Rajasthan we have this marble slurry. I found that in Tamil Nadu we have granite waste, which is a similar problem for the state local. In Gujarat, because Gujarat has this so many manufacturing industry, so we have foundry dust issue in Gujarat. So
Hmm.
we have tested different kind of materials. We just don't want to stick to a local product, but wherever we go, we want to come up with a solution that can address the local challenges also.
Interesting. So you are actually making an innovative on products based on the kind of waste you are getting at different points?
Yes, that can also be done. Like the plastic waste and the construction waste are one of the like are the two the permanent product, but with them we can also add different kind of local waste material also.
All right, brilliant. Uh, Finally, what else can you share across your journey till now as to where do opportunities exist where people can get in, make of course make profits and at the same time impact our planet in a better way?
So I think the construction industry, like I said in the beginning, also it's very huge industry in itself. It's a 800 billion USD in India in itself. And within the construction industry, there are a lot of elements, like it could be building materials, it could be your cement. Also, cement is again one of the very polluting industry.
Hmm.
And in the climate intersection also, there are like a lot of opportunities. You can come up with a green roofing solution. You can come up with the low carbon cement alternatives. energy efficient building materials, and I am also seeing 3D printing coming up in this industry as an
Yeah.
fast construction solution. So retrofitting old buildings to improve energy efficient is another growing market that I'm seeing in this construction space. And I think there's a lot of other opportunities that people can tap in. And with every elements of the construction industry, it has its own environmental and the social challenges where
Yeah.
people can come up and they can address these challenges. Like we are targeting the brick and industry, green roofing with sustainable what I say, like energy efficient solution. So I think it's like an ocean. You can do anything that you want. The sky is your limit.
Great. Thanks a lot for sharing that. And in fact, that was all from our questions. Well, I have a lot to talk more, but unfortunately, we are restricted by time. So I'm going to shift to now what I call the climate rapid fire. It's
Oh,
segment
interesting.
I do at the very end of each of my podcast.
Hmm.
And herein, as you can understand from the name itself, I'm going to ask you a series of questions, simple ones, light-hearted ones, and I'm going to need a rapid answer from your end.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
so
try
are you
my
ready?
best.
Yeah, are you ready
Yeah,
for the rapid
let's
fire?
let's go for it.
Okay. In your daily life, a sight or a visual that angers you the most when it comes to climate change.
I think when people cannot do segregation of dry waste and wet waste in their home.
Okay. uh, in your journey, a book or an article or a video or any publication or anything, any source material that you think is a must watch to understand how bad climate change is impacting us.
Um, I'm not sure about the book or article, but I think you can follow several pages like World Economic Forum, Terry in India itself. Like they post a lot
Mhm.
of about stuff about environmental impact. So you can follow them on all the social platforms, and you can see what's happening around the world towards climate change and also innovation also.
Okay. Your inspiration when it comes to doing good for the planet.
Uh, my own city, when I saw
Okay.
my own lakes getting polluted by several kind of like plastic bottles, polythene, or
Mhm.
etc. So this
Mhm.
has been like my motivation, and to stay in the construction industry is my own passionate for the construction industry.
Excellent. A brand you think is doing great work towards the environment.
Towards the environment, I think I recently saw this apple ka video on the mama earth that comes in
Yeah, yeah.
their office. And I think not just like it's, I won't say it's like an environmental impact company, but staying in this technology
Yeah.
driven company, they're
Mhm.
taking a lot of actions and steps towards keeping our environment clean and green.
Uh, this is a two-part question. So first part is, what is your favorite place of travel?
Okay, like for pleasure or for
Relaxation, pleasure, which are you like?
the
You would want to go there again and again, and you're fine with it.
Okay, I have not very much explored areas, but I think the outskirts of Udaipur, I would like to go there. Like places like Kumbhalgarh, Ranthambore, Ranakpur, these are like one of my favorite places because it's very green and during the monsoon it's very pleasant also.
Okay. Now, with these places in the front of your mind, you are now allowed to write one message on a hoarding at this place. It should be related to climate change, only a one-liner. So, what would be the message?
I think I would say that if you throw plastic here, bottle, bag, anything, anywhere, it will come back to you.
Great. Now you have a superpower to talk to nature's ecosystems, like lakes, oceans.
Mhm.
So, whose problem would you listen to, and what do you think will be the problem?
I would think I would listen to lake prawn because ultimately everything goes into the water, either
Mm.
through water bodies like rivers and lakes. It will go into the ocean, and like the Pacific Ocean currently is like it's been filled with the plastic waste. That every
Yeah,
country's waste is going into the Pacific Ocean. So something
yeah,
lakes, I think I would be doing that.
yeah. Okay. Similar to this, you have a different superpower. Now it is to interview one organism other than human being, as in you can talk to that. So, who
Okay.
would you want to interview, and what would the topic of discussion be?
I think I have seen a lot of cows and dogs, when these plastic waste goes into roadside or somewhere within the cities, these cows and these dogs, like these stray dogs and left alone animals, they goes into those places and they try to find food for themselves, and within that food they also eat plastic, they consume plastic, and that affects their health significantly. So something I want to speak species, if I want to speak, I think I would speak to cows and stray dogs, like what is happening with them, what are the challenges that they are facing.
Okay, great. If you could have a 1 hour conversation with any historical figure about climate
Hmm.
change, who would it be? You can select maybe a person in the present also who you really want to have a conversation with, but right now you're not able to reach that person. Probably through this podcast, you might be able to reach that person.
I think I would like to speak with the CEO of the World Bank,
Okay.
Mr. Bakka, and
Yeah.
I want to know like what initiative. I mean, like they're taking a lot of initiatives through the
Hmm.
World Bank, but I want to know what are the results of those initiatives and how we can do a lot more, because we need more.
All right. All right. So Ajay Banga sir, if you are listening to this podcast, please connect with Kunjpreet Arora here.
Yeah.
And finally, given $1 billion, how would you use it to save our planet apart from Angiras?
Okay, so I'm not sure if that is allowed. Can we do fencing around the lakes and make sure that people don't dump anything into the lakes? I don't
Okay.
know if that is allowed,
Hey, you have a
but
billion
I want to
dollars.
do
I
that.
think you have $1 billion. I think it would be not an issue.
Yeah.
All right, Kunjpreet, that was a fun conversation, really insightful. Thanks a lot, viewers. This was Kunjpreet Arora, the CEO of Angiras for you, the savior of lakes of Udaipur, and I'm hoping a lot of water bodies here in India. Kunjpreet, thanks for your time, and I hope to meet you soon.
Thank you so much, Vedant.
Hey folks, I hope you enjoyed the episode. So do like, share, and comment on what you think of it. I'll be talking with many such amazing people who are saving our beautiful planet. So don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you soon.